Hi guys, I'm going to take you through a little sequence, quite a challenging sequence. We'll be using some weights. If you don't want to use weights, then you can just do it with your arm weight. And you might want to have some kind of cushion or blanket for one of the stretches towards the end. We're going to be working mainly on some core strength work today and some back strength and also some stretching for the front body, hip flexors, etc. So we're going to start standing. So do your warm-up videos first as normal. Make sure that you loosened up, that you warmed up properly. And we're going to start just with a little standing sequence, just coming through the inchworm sequence. So we're going to be coming back and forth from that. So we're going to start from the front of your mat. Take your mountain pose. Just stand with your arms relaxed alongside the body. Take a few nice deep breaths in, feeling that you've got that nice long spine, tailbone slightly tucked. Close your eyes for a moment, get your sense of balance between the left and right side. Feel the evenness through the soles of the feet, from heel to toe, from inner edge to outer edge. And that's through the foot as well as the ankle joint. We're trying to feel that we've got that nice, even pressure. Now we're going to open the eyes and take a deep breath in, arms in the reach up. Just take it into a nice stretch, so we're lifting and lengthening, palms facing in if that's comfortable, shoulder blades are engaged, we're lifting up through the ribs, tail slightly tucked, a little softness in the knees. If this feels okay, you can start to take it a little further into a back bend, just squeezing the glutes as you lean further into it. And then as we exhale, we're going to think that we're lifting up and tipping over. So we're kind of tipping from the pelvis, we're going to let the arms drop all the way to the ground. Just hang in your fold. So remember, your range might be here, you might need to support your back, that's absolutely fine. Grab your shins or maybe reach the ground. If you want to use yoga bricks, you can use that to bring the floor up towards you. Just try not to be hanging in midair. Yeah, the trouble is if we don't make contact with something, whether it's our legs, then we're balancing and the body's going to be tightening to create that balance, that stability. So we're trying to let the body relax into our full range here. So by making connection with something, your body's more likely to go into a little bit of a deeper stretch. So just hold your forward fold, feel that even pressure, heel to toe. For those of you that have got great range here, if you find it easy, you want to feel that your hips are above your heels, not behind the heels, and you can even start to close that gap between body and legs. Maybe grabbing hold of the hands and gently draw yourself together. Okay, now lift the head. We're going to step back into plank. So you can either do little baby steps to walk yourself back there, or if you feel comfortable, you're just going to lift the head and chest. You're going to take the right leg, stride it all the way back. Big breath in, left leg, stride it all the way back. Readjust, so upper body, shoulders above wrists, feet nice wide base, abs are engaged, shoulders are engaged, slightly tucking the tailbone under, a little softness in the elbow joints. I'm just going to hold our plank. So obviously rest when you need to from this, but I'm going to talk you through all your teaching points that we do in class. So we want to feel that our shoulders are away from our ears. We're not locking the elbows. We've got nice even contact from the heel of the hand through to the fingertips. And our body weight slightly forward rather than slightly off the wrists. We also want to make sure the hips aren't going up. We want to keep that nice slope from shoulders to hips to heels. Your abdominals are supporting you. Your front body is lifting up through the back body. You want to feel that the lower back is supported as well. And we're pushing back into the heels and we're reaching the crown of the head forward. So we're still lengthening. It's a nice solid plank shape. Now from here we're going to move back into the forward fold. We're going to go to the back of the mat. So we take a deep breath in, we lift from underneath, we pull the front body up, and we slowly walk the hands to the back of the mat. So we end up, again, just in your forward fold. Hold it for a breath. When you feel ready, we're going to start to peel up to stand in. So squeezing the glutes, take a deep breath in. Arms come up. You can go a little deeper into your back bend now if you're comfortable. If you need to, you can support. Hands into the small of the back. Okay, exhale, we're going to come back down. So look forwards and we walk back out to plank. So just hold in your plank, squeeze the shoulder blades back. Now if you're quite new to plank, or if it's not a pose that you find particularly easy to do, you're just going to keep holding your variation. You can even drop your knees, cross your ankles. Yeah, trying to keep that straight line. Just make sure that you're not arching the back. If you're quite comfortable with it, I'm going to try narrow base. So we're going to bring the hands together. So thumbs are touching, toes are touching. Just makes it a little bit more unstable. So if I show you from a front angle here, instead of our normal base, we've just got this narrower angle here. Okay, so it just makes it a little bit more challenging to hold that steady, to hold that strong. Okay, and then take the hands back to shoulder width, scoop the hips up to the ceiling. You're going to look forwards, walk the feet to the hands again. If you need to bend your knees, that's fine. If you can, little challenge, see if you can walk your feet up, keeping your legs straight. And then we roll back up. Okay, so coming through that again, so exhale, drop to the ground. This time left leg, if you're stepping back through a lunge, you can take your left leg back first. Squeeze the glutes, tail is tucked. Right leg's going to step back. So come into your plank. Right, so we're going to work in plank now. So I'm going to go through a few different moves. Rest and come out whenever you need to, especially if you're losing your form. But we're going to start by taking it into a little alternate balance here. So we're going to start just with single corners. Think about pushing your left hand, your left foot and your right foot firmly into your base. And see if you can take your right arm and reach it forwards. Okay, change your side. So we push into the right hand, we take the left arm. We come back to the ground. We're just going to do the same with legs. So think push into both hands and your right foot. See if you can lift, push back through your left heel. Change your sides, right heel. Okay, come back to centre. Drop the knees, round the back up. Just take a little breather here. Sit the hips back to the heels. Child pose for a moment. Drop the forehead. Okay, come back through your box. So we'll do that again. This time we're going to add our alternate arm to leg. If you prefer, you can do your box variation of this. But we're going to see if we can do it from plank. So abs are engaged. Squeeze the shoulders away from the ears. Take time, step your left foot back. Push firmly into the ball of the foot. Big breath in. Right foot steps back. So we want a nice solid base before we start lifting. It is a balance, so keep your eyes on your focal point. I'm going to push my left hand down, my right foot down. I'm going to see if I can lift my right arm and my left leg. Wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. Maybe loosen the ankle, the wrist. Okay, come back to your box position. So changing sides when you're ready. So push your right hand firmly down, your left foot. Focus slightly forwards, right leg to left arm. I'm just going to hover it there. Okay, come back to your box. Drop to the knees, sit back to embryo pose this time. So we let the hips go back, arms are going to tuck in. Just let your shoulders drape. 2 or 3 good breaths. Okay, back into your box position. Right, now we're going to do some low plank work, but before we do, I'm just going to show you how you can just give your wrists a little bit of a release here, because obviously there's a lot of weight bearing in plank poses. So a nice stretch that you can do is to just gently fold the hand back towards you. So I'm not loading any weight into this side, I'm just literally using the floor to create a little stretch. Should feel quite nice to do. And then you can change sides. So just releasing the back of the wrist joint. Okay, and then we're going to step it back into our plank position. So left foot steps back, right foot steps back, arms are engaged. Now where your hands are, we're going to lower down to our forearms. So I'm going to place my right elbow where my right hand was, my left elbow where my left hand was. So I'm now in my low plank positions. Same applies. I'm lifting and supporting from underneath, trying to keep a nice solid core engagement, pelvic floors lifting. Think about your breastplate coming up into your shoulders, your front ribs coming up into your back ribs, abs coming up into lower back. But we're going to do a little bit of alternate work here. So we're going to push into our left foot, Right foot crosses over. Just hold that for a breath. If you can, I don't know if you can see on the video, but you're trying to keep your hips squared up to the ground as much as possible. Okay, changing sides, so I'm pushing to my right foot, left leg. I'm just going to step across. And try not to clench the rest of the body. So I think neck is neutral, breathing is nice and easy. Okay, and then I'm going to drop to my knees. I'm going to come all the way to the ground. Right, we're going to do a little bit of back extension work now. So we'll start just by letting our arms rest alongside us. Shoulders tip forwards, palms are facing up. Hips, give them a bit of a wiggle from left to right. Pull your belly button in, push your pubic bone into the floor. Feet about as wide as if you're holding a large football between the shins. Okay, we're just going to start with glutes. So we're just going to do some simple alternate left to right leg raises, just alternating lifting and lowering down. So it gives you an idea of which muscles are working. So ideally, as you're doing this, you should feel most of the effort is in the bum, is in the buttock muscle. If you're feeling it more in your lower back, try and pull the tummy in, push the pubic bone down, maybe bend the knee slightly so you've got an angle rather than a straight leg. But just do a couple more of those. Okay, and now we're going to do doubles. We're going to do it as a static lift. We're going to lift and hold. So upper body stays down, arms stay down. We take a big breath in, we pull the belly button in, we push the pubic bone down, we lift and float the legs. Just hold it there, 2 or 3 good breaths. If it's quite easy, we're trying to float the legs a little bit higher. So we're trying to peel as much of our front thigh away from the ground as possible, but we're keeping a connection with our little hip bones, our little headlights at the front. We're keeping our belly button drawn into our lower back, and we're trying to keep the pubic bone pushing firmly down into the floor. Okay, relax the legs, give the hips a bit of a shake. Right, coming to upper back extension now. So I'll give you a few options of this. Again, do as much as you're comfortable with. We start by shrugging the shoulders away from the ears and just pushing the fingertips back. We want to get that extension through the neck. The neck's nice and long. Lower body stays as it is. Deep breath in. As you exhale, you're going to start to lift your head, your breastplate, your chest, and maybe the front ribs. Squeeze your shoulders back. Either keep sliding the fingers back towards your knees, or if you're comfortable with it, you're going to press palms up, reaching the fingertips back and away. Hold it and breathe. Okay, and then come all the way back to the ground. Give the hips a bit of a shake. Relax, take a breather. Right, so we're going to combine those two together. We're going to come up into our full locust. Again, I'll give you a couple of options here. So if you want, you can just do double legs, upper body, bracing gently into the arms, or you can press your palms back, or you're going to tuck your thumbs in so we clasp the hands, we push the knuckles back, we start to feel that our arms are pulling through the upper body. So whichever level you're comfortable with, but all 3 levels start with a big breath into the belly. Exhale, float the legs up, float the upper body, start to engage. Glutes working really hard, mid-back muscles from neck to tail working really hard. Hold and breathe. Try not to clench anything that doesn't need tension though. So obviously our back line is working really hard here, but we don't want to be squeezing our neck or clenching our thigh muscles. So ankles and feet should feel quite soft. Even relax the face. Try and just focus on breathing easy. And completely melt. Let the body just sink. Okay, hands are going to come up to chest or to rib cage. We're going to come through cobra. So obviously your 3 levels. Your easy version is just to come up off your forearms, your elbows. Nice stretch. If that's enough, you can stay there. A little bit harder, we come up. Hands roughly under rib cage. Soften the elbows, pull the shoulders away from the ears. If you want to go further still, Tuck the toes, push back through the heels, lifting into your upward facing dog. Just make sure that your shoulders don't come up. Try and keep the upper arms tucking in. You can rotate the hands out if that feels more comfortable. Okay, and from here we're going to come back up into our forward fold and carry on coming through our inchworm. So we can take a deep breath in. You can come through your box if you prefer. Otherwise we're going to push through the heel of the hand, lift the hips up high, and just walk yourself to the back of your mat, so back into our forward fold. Okay, squeeze the glutes. Take a deep breath in. Okay, last time through this then, so we're going to drop to the floor, look forwards, and walk out to high plank. Okay, hold your plank position. So one last little challenge then with our plank, we're going to work through our side variation. So again, easy options, drop the knees, cross your ankles. A little bit harder, we're going to keep the back nice and straight, legs are straight. We plant the right hand centre, we tip, we extend. So I'm now lifting from underneath. Now my feet can either be staggered, one in front of the other, a little bit easier, slightly bigger base. They can be stacked, one on top of the other, or if you're feeling super strong, you're going to lift that top leg. Hold and breathe. Just check that this shoulder is above the wrist, that we're not coming off that alignment. Okay, come back to the ground. So we change sides. So from your plank, plant your left hand centre, abs engage. We tip, we start to reach up. So we're going to either staggered and stacked. Or if you're feeling strong, you're just going to raise that top leg up. Wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. We're getting that lift from this underneath. Chest is open. Come back to your plank. Scoop the hips up. Looking forward, side of baby steps. With straight legs, we're going to walk all the way to the front of the mat. Slowly come up to standing. Relax your arms, shake everything loose. Right, so we're just going to do a couple of bits with our weights now. We're going to combine some balance movements. So as I said, you don't need to use weights for this. You can just go through the movement with just your arm weight. If you have got weights, we're going to start just very simple. Just come into our standing knee lift. So take your time, don't rush this. Get your focal point, relax the body, feel yourself nice and loose. Shift your weight into your left leg. And we're going to slowly start to lift our right leg. Just coming up to our knee lift. Relax the ankle. Okay, hold that as it is. If that's enough, you're just going to stay right where you are. If that feels okay, we're going to curl. Bring the weights up to the shoulders. Okay, and then lower the weights back to the hips. Change your neck. So we step across. So take your time, shift the weight. When you're ready, you're going to start to lift. The weight in the right leg, lift the left leg. I'll show you from a couple of different angles. If that's enough, just hold it there. Nice, good form. If it's easy, we're going to curl, just holding the weights up to the chest. Try and feel that your body's upright so we're not leaning. We want to keep that nice plumb line from the crown of the head straight through the tailbone to the floor. Just holding it here. Okay, slowly on the way out as well. Right, now we're going to add a little bit of movement. So if that was enough, just go back to that static movement. Otherwise, this time we're going to start to add a little bicep curl and shoulder press. So we shift the weight back into that left leg. We slowly start to draw the right leg up. Okay, we're going to curl, extend. So remember, take your time, smooth and controlled. And lower down. Full range if you can. So we pull all the way up to the shoulders. We press all the way up to the ceiling. We come back to shoulders and we lower down. We're not going to go for loads of these, so if you find that it's too easy, second time around, maybe grab a bigger weight, or remember you've got the option of putting 2 weights into one hand. Okay, we're just trying to keep that nice upright posture, easy breathing. Change sides. So take your time, shift the weight across. Never rush, always move at your own pace. Start just by coming up. So this time we're going to alternate. So we'll start from the shoulders, but as one arm goes up, the other arm's going to come down. And then we come back to centre. Okay, one arm goes up, one arm's going to come down. So we're just making it a little bit more challenging on the balance here. Just keeping that nice steady posture. Smooth and controlled. Full extension, so you're reaching up with one arm, you're reaching all the way down with the other. And again, bring the weights down slowly, feet come together. Right, we're going to do a little bit of mid-back strengthening now. So I'm going to show you this without the weights first, then we'll do it with the weights, and then we'll do it with a little bit of a balance as well. So you can just do this at any level. Front body, you can want to imagine you've got that ruler here, wooden ruler from your sternum coming down into the belly button, and we want to keep that there. So if we go into flexion, we're going to end up jabbing ourselves. We want to keep that extension as we tip forwards. Kind of tipping out the front of the bucket, but we're loading the weight evenly heel to toe. Got a nice flat back. And we're also trying to feel that we're quite even, so we're not twisted. You know, we've got our shoulders a level. Gaze slightly forwards and down, using your arm weight. So palms are facing in, thumbs are on the inside. What we do, we pull up and we slowly down. Remember, the upward and the downward movement equally is important. So we don't just want to work on the upward, we want to control it on the way down, especially when we start adding weight into this. So it's a squeeze and lower. Okay, and we're trying to feel that we're engaging right into these mid-back muscles here. So if that's challenging enough for you, you're just going to do a set of those, about maybe 10 or 12, slow and controlled. If that feels okay, we're going to add weight. So we've got thumbs on the inside. Remember, 2 fingers down thumb create the grip, the other 2 are gently resting. So we pull up and we lower down. Okay, if that's really easy, we're going to do it from a balance. So we're going to shift the weight into the left leg. Right leg's going to go back. We're going to float that right leg up as we tip forwards. Okay, so I'm kind of using it as a bit of a counterbalance. My left leg is soft, and I'm going to start to add my little rowing action. So squeeze in the back, shoulder blades coming up and together. All the time trying to keep my shoulders away from my ears. Try to breathe. Nice and easy breath. As long as you don't hold your breath, that's good. It's so easy to hold your breath when you do the balance pose. Okay, feet come together. So we're going to change sides. So this time we're going to have a go at doing our alternating. So again, be a little bit more challenging. So if you're not using weight, if you're not using balance rather, you're just going to alternate left and right, left and right. If you are using weight, using balance, sorry, shift into your right leg, left leg steps back. So we tip, we get the balance first. Arms are just floating, a little softness in that supporting knee. So one goes up, one goes down. Remember, anything that where we're doing alternates or pulley, where one's pulling up and one's pulling down, the tendency can be here. If you're not careful, you'll start rotating the spine. So try and resist that if possible. Try and feel that your mid-back muscles are working. You're not twisted through the trunk. Okay, and you can slow this right down if you wanted to. You could do some super slow movement here. Come all the way back up. Relax your arms. Roll the shoulders back. Right, pop your weights down, and we're going to finish off just on the ground, a couple of stretches. So I'm going to talk you through hero pose. I'll show you how you can use a cushion, and then we're just going to do a little bit of abdominal strengthening. So come down slowly to a basic kneeling position, so that you've got your toes pointing straight back, pelvis is tucked underneath you, chest is lifted, and we're just going to start to work on stretching our front thighs, our quads, our hip flexors, and then we'll start to include the whole front body. Now, if you know that you struggle with this pose, obviously then just avoid it, because I'm just going to talk you through the whole hero pose today. But I will show you how you can use a cushion to make it a little bit easier. So the first level, the easy version, we're just going to have that cushion behind us, so it gives us something to aim for. As we lean back, we can aim for that instead, we can relax into it, and we just allow the body to kind of sink and open up. So it's a little bit of a gentle stretch, but it's just a way of getting into the pose if you struggle, to get back up, if you're worried that you're going to get stuck here. So you've basically got it supporting your mid-upper body, your head and neck. We're keeping that contact with the knees on the floor. You can also pad underneath your ankles, your shins. Remember, if it gets uncomfortable here, because there's a lot of pressure on this bit, put a rolled up blanket there. Arm position, either open out to the side, you can reach out in line with the chest, you can even go straight back, palms facing. That's a nice deeper stretch for chest lateral muscles as well. So, it's a pose that you can hold for 15, 20, 30 seconds, even longer if you find it's comfortable. Just try and feel that you're tipping out the back of the bucket slightly, yeah? So we're stretching mainly hip flexors. We don't want to feel the arch in the lower back too much. So that's your slightly easy version. If you are comfortable doing a full hero pose, still come down in stages, even if you know you can do the full stage. So I always come back first, have a bit of a fidget around here, checking that my hips are level, I've got that nice tilted pelvis, chest and ribs are lifted, and then I'm going to drop back to forearms. Hold that for a breath, see how that feels, if that feels okay. You can drop all the way to shoulders. Start to really stretch, even squeezing the glutes to drive the hips up will give you a deeper stretch again. Okay, and as I say, hold it for a good few breaths here. Checking after you've been here for a while that you feel an even stretch. So remember, if one side goes a little bit tighter, you can always do a very slight pelvic tilt. Squeeze the glute, lift on one side to balance it out. Okay, coming out, we're going to drop your arms. You're going to come slowly back up, so come up to forearms. From there, push yourself back over into your box position. I always just give your ankles a bit of a wiggle, just to loosen them out, so they're quite a good stretch as well. Okay, and then we're going to come onto our backs to finish off with. So sweep your legs around, give them a bit of a shake, relax your ankles. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish with long boat. So again, I'll show you a couple of different levels. We lower down slowly. If you want, you can come down, you can even use your weight, come down through your abdominal heel. Take a moment in your corpse pose so that you're even. Hold that body is nice and supported. Arms are alongside you. And while you're here, before we come into our long boat pose, just think about your pelvic floor. So visualise that lift. You're drawing up from pubic bone, tailbone, sit bones. I want to feel that these deep layers are active. If you're not sure, if they don't feel like they've been working so far, give them a little bit of stimulation. Do a bit of tapping, a bit of drumming on them. So we're just trying to wake them up. We'll take some deep breaths with the hands gently pressed over the pelvic belly to create that little bit of resistance. But we want to just be aware of these muscles. So long bow, start with your toes pointing up, feet hip width apart, draw the tummy in, try and tilt the pelvis so we're tipping out the back bucket. Hands are alongside to begin with, and we're going to lift the head and shoulders and just look straight down towards your feet. So that's your first level, and even just by doing that, you should start to feel this pull. The whole front of your abdominal muscle is going to be drawing you upwards. Okay, relax your shoulders. Now, if that's quite easy, we're going to slide the fingers down. So I'm getting maybe my back shoulders, my upper back rib cage coming away from the floor. A little bit of softness in my knees, and I'm going to see if I can just float my legs off the ground, just enough so they're hovering. If they got too high, the hip flexor is going to take over, so we just want to hover them. Okay, wiggle the feet. A couple of options, you can either hold this and rest when you need to, or we can add a little bit of movement. We're just going to do some scissors. One leg crosses over the other. Okay, and then we come back to our hovering. Relax the legs. Drop the head, take a few breaths here. Okay, see how that feels. So if that's enough, we're just going to do that again. You're going to come into that hold it static or add your little scissor movement. If you're comfortable with it, this time we're going to come into full hollow body. So we start by reaching our arms at the back corners of your mats. Think about your shoulder blades now, hugging you and supporting the weight of your arms. So you're actively stretching through the chest, but we've got this support system from underneath. Wrists and fingers are soft. whole back body is still flat to the ground. I'm tipping my pelvis in. Okay, I'm going to start by taking a deep breath in, and I'm going to slowly lift my head, lift my upper body, squeeze my glutes, lift my legs. So I'm just holding it here. Okay, just make sure that the neck is comfortable. You might want to support the neck with one hand maybe, but we've got this extra weight of our arms now, so it is going to make it a little bit more challenging. Just trying to feel that all this is working. You should feel the effort here. This should stay in contact with the floor. We don't want lower back to arch. A little softness through the toes. Okay, relax the legs. Drop the head. Drop your arms. Give everything a bit of a shake. Okay, and we'll just finish with one last little stretch. We're just going to do single corners. So feet the width of the yoga mat, toes pointing up, arms the width of the yoga mat, take them out the back corners, palms facing up. One corner at a time, push your left leg down, stretch it out. Feel the pelvis tilt, the lengthening through this left corner. Hold it for a breath. Okay, and then draw it back in. Changing side, so right leg now, push out through the right heel. Okay, come back in. Now we're going to do left arm, so think stretching out through the left fingertips. Hold it there. Okay, relax, stretching out through the right arm. Okay, and then finally we're going to do all four corners together. So take a really big breath in. Exhale. So try and imagine we're 6 inches longer through the middle. And just hold that. You can even have a bit of a wiggle through the hips. Okay, as you exhale, we're going to let everything soften in. Plant your feet. Do a few little circles or pelvic tilts. Just soften your lower back. Roll it both ways or tip it forwards and backwards. And then take your time. Start to hug your knees up. And you can roll this, you can massage this, or you could just hold it still. Okay, from here, when you're ready, we're going to tip over onto your right side. Take a breath. Come up very slowly to your seated position. 2 big breaths into finish. So inhale, sweep the arms up. And step up again. Big inhale. And step. Namaste. Well done, guys.